right, so folks in your 30s, if you are listening to this right now, you heard my pitch in the 20s and you know exactly what the 20s should be doing. If you are missing any of those components, make sure that you go back and you start to add those into some of the things that you were working on right now. Because when we talk about these decades, these build upon each other. And so if you don't have the financial foundations like we talked about in the 20s, I want you to make sure that you are working on those things in addition to what we're going to be talking about right here. And so in your 30s, this is where you're going to see your income start to increase. This is where you're going to see your income start to accelerate. But guess what else happens? Life throws so much more at you, especially if you get married or you have kids or you have aging parents. Those are the three areas where life is going to throw you a monkey wrench left and right. And you're going to have to figure out financially how to deal with each and every single one of those things while trying to focus and grow your career. This is a messy portion of our life. Our 40s, it gets even harder. And so we want to make sure that we set up these financial foundations that are going to help us propel the next couple of decades, which become so increasingly important as we think about building wealth and building up that money. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to lock in that high savings rate. Your savings rate is going to dictate how long it's going to take you before you need to retire. And locking it in your 20s and getting the ball rolling and getting that habit started is very important, but I want you to lock in that high savings rate. So a 10% savings rate is not going to cut it here. Here at Master Money in the Personal Finance Podcast, a 10% savings rate is what we want to get you out of. You need to be saving more than just 10%. Now, you may be saying to yourself, what does he mean by savings rate? Savings rate is any dollars that are directed towards your emergency fund or directed towards investments. That's what I mean by savings rate. This is not saving for your next car. This is not saving for your house. This is not saving for your wedding. This is not saving for your vacation. No, all I mean by this is things that are going to go towards wealth building activities and things that are going to grow your wealth. And so sure, a house could be argued with that, but we've talked about buy versus rent, and we'll have some more episodes coming out on that very, very soon. All right. So this is the decade where we need to increase our savings rate. And by the minimum, here on the Personal Finance Podcast and at Master Money, at a minimum, we want you saving at least 20% of your income. Once you get to your 30s, I would love for you to bump that up to 25% because this is going to make the timeline to when you can retire that much faster. And if you can bump it even to 30%, I would love for anybody listening right now, on YouTube or on Spotify, leave a comment down below and let me know what your savings rate is. I would love to hear what your savings rate is. And if it is above 20%, let me know. I want to celebrate that with you because that is a huge, huge accomplishment. And if you can get those dollars rolling and you have that higher savings rate, it will change your life forever. Okay. So your savings rate is going to dictate how soon you can retire. And you've got to make sure that you get it above 20% if you can, or at least at 20% at the bare minimum. If you are at a lower savings rate, doing as much as you possibly can, then two things we need to think about is one, increasing our income and finding a way to do that. And two, we need to think through, well, can we cut back something? And if we cut back something that can help increase that savings rate, where I would want you to gradually build your savings rate up. If you are at a 5%, for example, let's take the next year or year and a half and let's increase it by 1% a month. Finding ways to increase our income during that time frame where each month we're increasing and just increasing the dial a little bit. Turning up the heat a little bit. Let's boil that frog slowly. And then once we get to the point in time where we're at 20%, now we can either decide, hey, do I want to keep going? Or do I feel comfortable at this 20% savings rate? So any raises coming in, those should be going towards your savings rate. You can use the 50-50 rule, meaning 50% towards yourself and 50% towards raises until you get to 20%. Or if you get tax returns this time of year, that's another great thing that you can do is take that tax return and put it towards your savings and investment. That'll, boom, jolt your savings rate pretty quickly. The goal is to make saving boring, and I would just highly, highly recommend to automate into your high yield savings account and automate into your investment accounts. Those are the two areas that I want you to automate into. Number two is in your 30s, I want you to try to wipe out any non-mortgage debt. Any non-mortgage debt that you are dealing with right now, I want you to try and get rid of it as fast as you possibly can. So this is anything outside of your mortgage, your car notes. Well, let's get rid of our car notes and let's see if we can save on the side to pay cash for a car next time or put a bigger down payment or to just get rid of car payments altogether for the rest of our lives. How cool would that be? You don't have a car payment for the rest of your life. Now, some of you may be saying to yourself right now, because you have some preconceived notion that you need to have a car payment in order to drive a car and it's impossible to drive a car without a car payment. Some of you may be saying to yourself right now, well, that's impossible. How can I? Ask yourself this question. How can it be possible? Well, what if I started to pay off my car right now And then I took those payments and I started to put them in my high yield savings account, or if it's further out, maybe a taxable brokerage account. And I started to grow my money. And instead, when it's time to buy a car next time, I may have enough cash on hand to buy a car in cash. What if you did that? Could you save up enough? Or is this a situation where you have these preconceived notions and you feel as though since you've seen everybody else do it a certain way, you also have to do it a certain way? You don't have to do it what everybody else is doing. And in fact, most people are doing it wrong. Most people are in debt up to their eyeballs. They're stressed out about money every month. They're anxious about money every month. But what if you did it differently? I challenge you to challenge your preconceived notions to see how you feel about these certain things. Any student loans, let's try to get rid of those as fast as we possibly can. For most of you out there, trying to get those paid down is very, very important. So for most of you out there, getting those paid down is very, very important. And in fact, next week, we have an episode coming out with Robert Farrington talking about all the student loan changes, but in addition, how you can pay off those student loans and ways to reduce the costs of student loans. And so I want you to make sure you are ready for that. Clearing out any credit cards or personal debt, that stuff needs to be gone. It should be gone in your 20s, but it also should be gone and not be coming back at any point in time, anytime soon. Now, avoid upgrading cars or homes or lifestyles with borrowed money if you can. I want you to make sure that you are trying to think through, well, okay, if I want to go get a nicer house because my family has expanded, I completely get it. If you want to go to a nicer neighborhood, take on a mortgage, I completely get that. That is something you can do, but you need to make sure that you are running total cost of ownership or running the numbers. Now, we have a free calculator where you can run total cost of ownership. If you want to do that, just go to mastermoney.co/resources, and we have that there. But making sure you're avoiding upgrading on some lifestyle changes if you cannot afford them. If you are stretching your income too far, you want to avoid that because debt freedom is the best future decision that you can make. Number 3 is I want you to align wealth with life goals without pausing investing. And so what I want you to do is this is where the homes, the kids, the businesses, all that stuff are going to enter the picture. And you're going to have a lot of mess happening. A lot of different things are going to be changing. But I want you to make sure that your retirement contributions are not sacrificed because of all these changes. You built up this foundation in your 20s and 30s. I don't want that to go away. I don't want you to think about, okay, well, now I need to shift gears here and this is going to go away. No, instead, that needs to be prioritized. You need to pay yourself first and then spend what is left over. Always, always, always make sure you can pay yourself first. You can always buy a home later on down the line, but you cannot invest your money in your 30s. And so I want you to make sure that you have this set up so that you are on track. The goal is balance, not perfection. And that's where I think most people get this wrong is they think they need to be perfect. And then if they're not perfect, they quit. No, instead, I want you to be balanced. I want you to feel like you're enjoying life, but also spending money on future you. And that is where we want to make sure that we have that balance in place. And we are trying to find what that balance is for each and every single person. And so really, really important to make sure you do that. Also, number 4 is in your 30s, you need to have your money systematized completely. Let's grow up here for a second. We're going to become financial grownups here in our 30s. We've been doing this for a while now. We've got our own job going. And if you started to work, let's say at 20, 21, 22, 23, then you have been doing this for 15 years plus, most likely. And so because of that, we need to grow up financially, and we have put in the hours. We have had the time. We've gotten the paychecks coming in. We need to learn how to systematize and handle our money correctly. Now, number 1 is to automate your money. If you don't know how to automate your money, we have an automation checklist that you can check out down below in the show notes. We also have a course called Automate Your Money in One Weekend, which is $27 and teaches you how to automate your money literally in one weekend. So I highly recommend you check those out down below if you're interested. And if you are trying to think through my systems and how to automate my money and how to do all this, you need to automate your bills, you need to automate your investments, you need to automate your savings so you can remove willpower out of the equation. Your willpower is a detriment to your finances. Your willpower is something that is really, really fickle. And so you want to make sure that you are removing your willpower from the equation. Very important to do that. And I think for most people, we want to make sure that we have a clear purpose on which accounts we are using, where our money is going, how we're spending our money, how we think about money, what our ultimate money goals are, what our retirement number is. All of those need to be very, very clear. We have lots of episodes to teach you how to do that. Your finances should be running on autopilot even when life is chaotic. So you should still be building wealth even when life is chaotic, even when life is throwing so many different things at you. You got your kids' sports, you got daycare, you got aging parents, you got all this stuff happening. I know how hard it is. On top of that, we have student loans and affordability is at an all-time low. I get it. I get how hard it can be right now. But if we set it up on autopilot, we have the right systems in place, and we are earning enough, we can make sure that we are building wealth going forward. And so I want each and every single one of you to focus your time and energy on that. The last thing is to protect the machine. This means getting the proper insurances set up and ensuring that you have life insurance if people depend on you. Term life insurance, not anything else, but term life insurance if people are depending on you. Looking into making sure you have the right auto insurance. Do you need disability insurance? Do you need other insurances in place? Umbrella insurance if you are really wealthy. Those are all things that you want to make sure that you have in place because you need to protect your income. Also, we should have that 6-month emergency fund in our 30s. Even if you have to use it, then rebuild it. If you have to use it, rebuild it again. But it's very, very important that we have that. Getting a will or estate documents in place is going to be super important. I just finished up my trust, and my trust is something that's pretty cool. Some of the stuff that I have done, we're going to actually introduce all the steps of exactly what I've done inside Master Money Academy to our members. And it's a very cool thing to kind of finally get that done and have it customized the way I wanted. And there's some cool stuff that you can do with the trust. So if you are someone who has a higher net worth, then you can also build out a trust, or if you have businesses or people who depend on you, then just, look into that as well. And then making sure your credit is actually decent, and having a decent credit score above a 700 is the ultimate goal. And so each and every single person here needs to make sure you built up your credit because it helps you save a lot more money in the near future. So the big takeaway for your 30s is that this is the decade where most people drift financially. Their lifestyle inflates. They get the bigger house because they have kids. They get the nicer cars because they have kids. Maybe get the brand new minivan so you can ghost ride the whip when you take your kids to school. All of these are things that you are most likely doing, but don't fall into the drift. Don't drift too far. Make sure that you take care of your retirement first, because there's no loans for your retirement. And then you can spend on what is left over. If you automate aggressively now, it'll take care of the rest of your life forever. And so I want to make sure that you do that. And again, check out the automation checklist down below. I literally walk you through step by step for free exactly how to do it. So if you want to check that out, I would highly, highly recommend it.